7, I went by the agenda. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guest, good evening. A potty history. When I rehearsed this yesterday, I kept hitting 15, 16 minutes, and I really didn't realise I was that interesting, but apparently I am. I had a similar experience. I only got to the age of 5 during the rehearsals. I've had to cut it down a little bit and take a few shortcuts. Basically, I'm going to give you a basic introduction to who Jeff Downes is, as if you care. A bit of background, tell a few stories, and try to relate some of this and bring the audience in, and you'll see that point. Not in terms of participation, but hopefully I can relate some of this. Brief intro is I'm 57 years old. I know you can't believe that is true. I've been married for it seems only like yesterday really, but we've known each other for about 30 odd years, Leslie and I. I live down in Selsley and have 2 children, and I'm the owner-director of a management consulting company specialising in sales and marketing. That's the brief intro. You might say, well, you can sit down now, Jeff. But just to tell you a bit about some of my hobbies. I enjoy playing the guitar. I enjoy playing golf, ballroom dancing, cooking and fishing. So I was just thinking, if anybody's interested in it, if anyone's a really bad singer, you'd make a great partner for me because I'm a really bad guitarist. If you're a golfer and maybe you don't win very often, I'm your man, because if you play me, I can assure you, you will definitely win. Did I mention ballroom dancing in that little intro there as well? Yeah, ballroom dancing, yeah, I could probably take somebody around the floor for a waltz, as long as it's a lady. So that's up to date with the hobbies. Hopefully some of you can relate to those. Bit on my background. Do you remember the man from Del Monte? What did he say? He said,
yes.
Yeah, but my father actually was the original man from Del Monte. In the East End of London, which is where I was born and brought up, my dad worked in Spitalfields, and he had the job of breaking up a sort of sample of orange boxes, apple boxes, melons and stuff, and tasting the fruit to see if it was genuine and it reached the required quality. I didn't realise this till when I grew up, actually, but he was the original man from Del Monte. And who remembers John Profumo and the Profumo affair?
Yeah.
Right. Well, my mother was his chambermaid. Right? My mother, where I was brought up until the age of 13, was in fact chambermaid at Toynbee Hall, the halls of residence, London University, in Commercial Street near Petticoat Lane. And she was a cook, and John Profumo's chambermaid. And I remember that name from my childhood very well, along with a few other famous people as well. The area of London, you may know, is very close to Petticoat Lane. I don't know if you've been to Petticoat Lane. Big part of my childhood. And then when I reached sort of 10, 11, I used to work on a stall on a Sunday and help out selling various items for the stall, which is great fun. We then moved to the leafy suburbs of Wallington in Surrey. Right? Well, I thought it was. It was in fact a new council estate built on the old Croydon Airport, which it's history now. It's been demolished now for the last 15 years, and it turned out to be a terrible place. But when we went there, it was a fantastic place because we had an inside toilet and an inside bathroom. We had central heating, and you know what? We didn't have any of those in Toynbee Hall. We used to have to walk along an open balcony to get to the communal toilet and bathroom. So that was life for me in those days. When I eventually left school at the tender age of 14 years and 11 months, I got an apprenticeship in a factory. This is my sort of rags to rags story. Because it ended up for £4, 10 shillings and sixpence, less tax. You ended up being cheap labour, cleaning out all the machines, the swarf, the oil, horrible. It was a real oily rag kind of job. So I didn't like that, and I fancied a job in a suit. So I ended up going to college, getting some qualifications, then working as a design engineer. And then I came across people called customers. And I quite like talking to customers, And I like going out for lunches and having a bit of fun and having a few beers. And this was great fun in my early 20s. So I ended up finding myself It's like the birth of the salesman, really. I ended up finding myself in the profession of selling, which is how I ended up being a sales consultant. I'm no Prince Charming, but I used to go to a nightclub called Cinderella's in Purley, in Surrey, which is where, on one fantastic night for Leslie, she met me. And that was in July 1981, in the same week as Lady Di married Princess Diana, married Prince Charles. And yeah, I think our marriage has been a bit more successful than what happened there. The two children, as they were growing up, drove us mad for a dog. Right? So we resisted and we said, look, no, can't have a dog, but you can have an imaginary dog. So we ended up with, we named the dog Spot. Right? Spot the dog. Think about it. And we took Spot the dog for walks, and we used to go in cabs, and, and people used to come up and stroke the dog, stuff like that. And that was great. Sometimes you sort of pull it on. And an extension of that, we used to have French kids, French students staying at our house, and they love Spot the dog, French kids. And then I extended this. I asked them to come out to the garden with me, and I said, you've met Spot, but I want to show you my new invention. It's called the cordless hose pipe. And I said, help me water the flowers. I said, so that's so convenient. You just go like this, you don't have to worry about any hoses. You have these French kids going around thinking they've got water in the flowers. I haven't perfected it yet, but you must admit, it would sell, wouldn't it? So that's Spot the dog and my hose pipe. One quick story from my professional life. Sometimes I have to be quite well turned out, spick and span for board presentations in my line of work. One morning, turned up 8 o'clock. It was a presentation to the board for Otis, the elevator and the escalator. And to my horror, when I went to polish my shoes the night before, one broke and one smooth shoe. I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to get away with this? So I thought, oh, have a good night's sleep, Jeff. They won't notice. So I went to put them on next morning. Guess what? 2 left feet. So I had to squeeze into these shoes like this. Furthermore, the HR director and HR directors, and being a lady, the first thing she did when she met me, hi Jeff, pleased to meet you. And she looked down at my shoes. So that was fun. But now we're in Selsey. Greatest oxymoron of all time is our local rag, which is called Selsey Life, but I'm going to show you there isn't any. So I'm seeing the red light. I'm thinking I need to end so that I don't creep up to that 15 minutes, and it's just time for me to say thank you for listening to me during my icebreaker. Thank you very much.